Free silver, the two most beautifully put together words that exist. But why am I saying this? Well, that's because you watching this video right now might be winning some of that. And I'm not exaggerating. Once a month, I pick one lucky random subscriber to give an ounce of silver away to. But I also just hit 55,000 subscribers, so I'll be posting the entry video tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. That's June 3rd. So if you're someone that wants some silver shipped straight to your front doorstep by doing nothing other than just clicking a button on a screen, well, this is your channel. Hey, what's up, stackers? This is Silver Slayer. Welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, this is going to be a crazy video. This is going to be a very heavy video, and we're going to get deep into this. Now, some of you might not know this, but there's an asteroid called 16 Psych that has up to $500 quintillion worth of precious metals on it, and NASA's going to try to mine this thing. They're going to try to mine it. Space mining is becoming a reality. Now, this asteroid arrives by the year 2026, but NASA sent out a rover this year to study it. Now, we have several different articles we're going to be looking into just to really get a good perspective, because this is big. If space mining becomes a reality, precious metals would not be rare at all. It would completely kill the cost, the value of it, because it would be as common as a rock in your backyard. So here's some of the articles. This is one from solarsystem.nasa.gov, and it's looking at the asteroid. It even shows like how far away it is and stuff. It's pretty crazy. But regardless, this thing supposedly is covered with precious metals. So I just want to look into this and see the possibility of space mining being a thing by the year 2026. Now, personally, I don't think so. I think it's going to take a lot longer. But just the fact that they're starting to use the final frontier as a means to mine or even just get precious metals speaks for itself. I mean, something will have to change eventually. We don't have enough silver. I mean, think about in like 30, 40 years from now in a sci-fi movie, and there's flying cars and buildings, skyscrapers, all, digital. And do you think we have enough silver for that? No, we barely have enough silver just to cover the next 5, 10 years. So think about in 30, 40 years. There's going to have to be a new source. It's just not realistic. So what would be the options? One, mining innovation out of the Earth's crust, but there's only so much silver and it's becoming harder to find. Two, getting it from us, which I'm sure a lot of us are not going to turn our silver in if they tried to confiscate it. And yes, gold confiscations happened several times throughout history, so why wouldn't they try to take silver to save the planet? Or three, space mining. That sounds almost the most plausible, especially since there would be so much of it. We just don't have that technology yet, but over time, I definitely see, I could see that happening. And that's kind of why I want to make this video, is to look at the possibility. So this asteroid is packed with so much precious metal that it can make every single person on Earth a billionaire. And now NASA is sending out a spacecraft to study it. This is insane. This is honestly insane. This story, I looked into it before. I dug deep into it, because there's obviously like the mainstream news side of it. But then when you really start getting into it, it gets crazy. NASA has an entire team focused on this asteroid, and I'm just curious why in particular they're so focused on this asteroid. It's because the precious metals on it. So it's a good thing that billionaires have started looking at exploring space, as an asteroid believed to be packed full of precious metals, which could be worth more than 10,000 quadrillion dollars, is currently in our solar system. This 124-mile wide space rock that orbits the sun and the asteroid belt is called Psych 16. It's in the region of space between Mars and Jupiter. NASA already has a mission to study the gold mine asteroid in 2026 to figure out its origins. Now, here's a video from NASA on YouTube titled "Inside NASA's Psych 16 Psych Mission to Study a Metallic Asteroid." According to observations made by scientists, asteroid 16 Psych is comprised mainly of metallic iron and nickel similar to Earth. This precious metallic asteroid is 3 times farther away from the sun than Earth, with an average size about 1/16th in diameter of the moon. Scientists have classified 16 Psych as M type for being metallic, unlike most asteroids that are either rocky or icy. It is possible so full of, or it's possibly so full of metal, it would make everyone on Earth a billionaire. I mean, that's just so insane to think about. Researchers from the recent study said the findings are a step forward toward resolving the mystery of the origin of this unusual object, which has been thought by some to be a chunk of the core of an ill-fated protoplanet. And then an assistant professor of planetary science and astronomy added, "We think that fragments of the cores, mantles, and crests of these objects remain today in the form of asteroids. If that's true, it gives us our only real opportunity to study the cores of planet-like objects directly." Now remember, gold and silver isn't made in the Earth's crust. Gold and silver came from asteroids, from meteors hitting the Earth, which that is a prime example of the possibilities. I mean, if gold and silver comes from outer space, and we're able to mine asteroids and meteors in outer space, then 1 + 1 = 2. NASA's on a mission to explore a Greek named asteroid called 16 Psyche that contains a double-edged sword made completely of metal. It boasts enough gold to either make every person on Earth a billionaire or to collapse the gold market and destabilize the entire global financial world. And that's the direction I was kind of talking about, right? This would collapse precious metals because gold and silver would be as common as an everyday rock outside. Now, this almost sounds too crazy to be true, and it might be, but just the possibility, and it might just be too crazy to be true by the year 2026, but maybe by the year 2030 or maybe by the year 2040, space mining is a real thing. So, what happens when they're able to mine precious metals out of space and it's not so rare anymore? The heavenly body Psyche, which has or was discovered by Italian astronomer Annabelle on March 17th, 1852. Wow, this was discovered in 1852, named after the Greek goddess of the soul who was born mortal but married to Eros, the god of love. Now we already know it's between orbits of Mars and Jupiter. It's made of rock, ice for the most part, compromised of solid metal. Now, this also is a powerful, or Psyche is a powerful and may cause trouble for humanity, and if or when she is mined for the precious gold she is made of, because the wealth represents, could send earthly financial markets into a tizzy. So Psyche also contains large amounts of platinum, iron, nickel, making her worth even more astronomical. Experts have estimated that the various metals the asteroid is made of are worth an eye-popping 10,000 quadrillion dollars, and I've even heard up to 500 quintillion dollars. I mean, numbers that almost sound made up. And this may be too much of a good thing, as so often happens with Greek gods if they are portrayed in Greek mythology. So, if all Psyche's riches were somehow transported back to Earth, their worth would destroy commodity prices and therefore cause the world's economy, worth at least $75.5 trillion, to collapse as a result. Because remember, gold is what backs a country's wealth, right? Gold is the only thing that's real wealth. So, I'm curious. I mean, this probably sounds insane to talk about, but just because there is real proof that there is this asteroid and real proof that NASA is looking into it and sending out a rover to look into it and possibly mine this thing, that that's a real scenario that's going to be happening. And maybe it might not be possible now, but someday, more than likely, it will be possible. I mean, think about how much we've advanced technologically in the last 30 to 40 years, and think about in 30 years from now. NASA describes 16 Psyche as a giant metal asteroid about 3 times farther away than the sun is from Earth, 140 miles long. That is insane. That is insane. So, trying to get some other types of information we didn't already mention. So Scott Moore, the head of Euro Mining, told interviewers from the energy publication of Oil Price that almost unfathomable amounts of gold in the asteroid threaten to be completely unopened in the gold industry on Earth. The titans of gold mining operators, now control hundreds of the best producing properties around the world, he explained. But 4 or 5 million ounces of gold they bring to the market every year pales in comparison to the conquests available in space. And that's what I was kind of talking about. And here's the Discovery mission headed to the asteroid in 2022. When I first covered this article or this news, it was in 2021. So I remember talking about like next year they're going to go check this thing out, and now they are. So in the summer of 2022, NASA plans to launch a mission to probe the asteroid to find out more about her riches, called the Discovery mission. It's scheduled to arrive at Psych 16 nearly 4 years later, sometime in around 2026, following a Mars gravity assist in 2023. It really is the final phase. I mean, when all the puzzle pieces are coming together and we're getting on the rocket, this is the most intense part of everything that happens on the ground. So that gives us Earthlings just enough time to contemplate exactly what might happen if and when Psyche's riches are somehow exploited and brought back to our own planet. Clearly, the amounts of precious metals in an asteroid the size of Psyche 16 could send our global economy into territory that has never had to deal with before, as commodity prices would bottom out from the sheer abundance of the metals. If all the minerals of the asteroid were to be mined and added up, experts estimate it would be around 10,000 quadrillion dollars. So let's keep on moving on. We got a little bit more information from this article. So now let's look at this one. This is from solarsystem.nasa.gov. So this is going to be like the more, professional view of this asteroid. Overview. One of the most intriguing targets in the main asteroid belt, Psyche, is a giant metal-rich asteroid about 3 times farther away from the sun than it is from the Earth. Now, we already know it's 140 miles long. So, I just want to see if NASA, I mean, this is the most, official, article about this asteroid. So, I just want to see if they mention anything about mining it. So during 21 months in orbit, the spacecraft will map and study Psyche using a multispectral imager, gamma ray and neutron spectrometer, magnometer, and a radio instrument. The mission's goal is, among other things, to determine whether Psyche is indeed the core of a planetesimal. So they're not mentioning mining anything yet, but I mean, it would only be obvious to do so if this asteroid really does have what they say or think it does have. So you're going to hear a lot more about this 140-mile long asteroid in the next few months as NASA gets closer to launching a mission of the name in August 2022 to study what it's made of: iron, nickel, gold. Observations of light reflected off it suggest one of those, which would, some casual suggestions predict, make the asteroid technically worth about 10,000 quadrillion dollars. That's way more than the global economy, which was worth about $84.5 trillion. And I mean, think about how controversial this would be, just because what if NASA is going to mine this asteroid, since we're the ones that found it, that's, probably going to be America. How would they divvy it up? What would happen when country to country tries to get their hands on it or mine this thing? Would it be like the space race to the moon? I mean, it would just be so crazy and interesting to think about this. Now, I know some of you are saying this is just a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo. It's not possible, but of course it's not yet. But just the fact that they're starting to look into it is enough said. Whatever is perceived value, the metal-rich 16 Psyche is a celestial oddity. It exists within the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. And these are probably the types of asteroids that do hit or crash into the earth, and that's how precious metals get into the earth's crust, right? I mean, gold and silver aren't made in the dirt. It's a 16th the diameter of our moon, but arguably more intriguing. So it's thought to be exposed to metallic iron, nickel, and gold core of the protoplanet. So that is crazy. But like they said, we don't know anything for sure until we get there. Filled with a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. No mission has ever visited 16 Psych. It's almost impossible to study from afar. Though Earth-based telescopes, the asteroid appears to be a fuzzy blur. Hubble telescope can't discern much detail either, but they do know it's shaped like a potato and that it spins on its side. Have 21 months mapping and studying it. That's pretty cool. Um, and I'm curious because a lot of times NASA does stream what they do, or from the space station at least, and maybe by that time, by the year 2026 when they get there, maybe we'll be able to watch them, discover it and study it. But anyways, yeah, what do you think about this? Do you think that space mining will be a thing someday? I think it's silly to say will it. I mean, it's when. It's not if, but when. As we advance, I mean, it's inevitable that we advance. I mean, we're just growing so fast as a civilization, as it's inevitable. But when and what would that do to the price of silver or precious metals as a whole? That's what I'm curious, and that's what I would love to ask you. I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was 1, educational, 2, informational, 3, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button. I post daily videos. If you want a chance to win some silver, make sure you click subscribe and stay tuned for the entry video tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. Yeah, may the luckiest stackers win. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.